How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/cocktail.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Times of old, in times of new, there's a guide to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field.
Welcome, Cam. Welcome back. I mean, I'm not welcoming you to the show, but it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute since I saw you. I feel like I was actually telling my wife. I was like, I miss Cameron. I kind of feel like there's like this hole missing in my life because like
sure
we go from Gameology and Jelly Smack, Spec Ops, React and Shiftfire, seeing each other like multiple times in the month and to on calls and all that kind of stuff to like you take off for most of the month. I'm like,
yeah, what do I do?
What am I doing with my life? Where's Cameron?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. And yeah, man. No, I completely feel the same way because like we go literally from filming Shiftfire every month, and then also we were doing the podcast in person for a long time, and then just like hanging out. And now I'm doing this thing on the side where like I'm gone all the time. I think the important lesson here is I miss you too. Buddy.
Yeah,
this is
great.
good.
We've had an intense like couple of years because we met right in the beginning of COVID, right when the intent when it was at its fullest in California, and so we've had this really intense like intro to each other and then working relationship like for the past 3 years, and now things are kind of slowly shifting and changing. So it's just nice to reconnect, man. It's cool.
It is. I 100% agree, man.
I mean,
it's nice to see your digital face.
Yeah, that's right. Man, someday, man, who knows what's going to happen? I miss the in-person stuff, but
I do.
I do have you'll be happy to know that, and you'll see it on the video, but I have the angles. Our angles of our screens are just perfect to where it actually looks like we're looking at each other.
We're looking at each other?
Yeah.
Because my camera's off to the right, so it makes it look like I'm looking to the left. So you're looking to the right, so it looks like we're literally looking at each other. That's great.
It's
hell of an editor. Power move. Yeah, because if we were in person too, I'd have to make fun of your haircut. I'm sorry, friend.
Oh my God. Please do make fun of my haircut. I deserve it. I deserve it, folks. All right? Don't hold back. All right, I'm a big boy.
Yeah, Izzy got a haircut.
I got the worst.
Usually like Izzy's in his 40s, but like he always looks clean. Like he definitely has like a 20s vibe style going. Yep. But yeah, it looks like you went to him and asked for the high and tight.
I got the dad from American Beauty haircut. Like the what's his name, Steve Cooper or whatever that actor's name is. Like he just doesn't give up the high and tight look.
No, not at all.
And I'm very ashamed. I should actually stop working out because the more I work out, the worse this looks because it just connects badly. And I got the green shirt on today. What's wrong with me? I'm trying to like recapture old glory.
Yeah. Next thing, you're going to be wearing dog tags and calling everyone boy.
Boy, you don't.
It's fine, though. The one thing I've realized, like, I've had a couple bad haircuts. Actually, the worst haircut I ever got was before I took my fiance to Belize. And like, I went to some random barber in the valley, and he was on the phone the entire time, and like he just started chopping away. And like my hair goes to it like flips to the left, but he like made it wet, and he was just like, oh, it looks like it goes to the right, but he would be right if he asked me. But I have this like cowlick that makes it look like it goes to the right, but it actually falls to the left. So he cut it like it falls to the other side. So I literally, my head was like crooked. And to make things worse, I literally scheduled like this nice photo shoot as a surprise to take couples photos in Belize. And like it completely ruined the photo shoot. Like in every single picture, there was a mild breeze, and it looked like I had a rooster haircut. And it was like we took some beautiful pictures, and at least 3 of them out of like 20 beautiful pictures was usable because of that hair.
Go check out his Instagram, folks. Cam and Izzy Fath. I'm sure
it won't be on there. I'll tell
really,
you
didn't post any? I thought you did.
I posted those 3 that made it.
Okay,
yeah, to where I was like dunked my head into water really quick just to lay it down. But no, bad haircuts could ruin entire months. But the good thing is, it's hair and it grows back.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah. Speaking of Cameron, not being able to cite Cameron's Belize photos on Instagram, rare sightings of rare things and cryptids is the name of the game. Was that too much of a reach around? Is that too much of a work around to getting around to what we're talking about today?
The episode title. I was like, what is he going into? But man, I'm glad it makes sense. Once you said it made sense because I had no idea where you're going.
Okay, good. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. In my head, as I'm talking, like, I don't know if I can make this work, man.
Yeah, no, we're here now, so we might as well just move with it, you know?
Yes, absolutely. The world is full of mysterious places and mysterious mysteries. And of those mysteries, none are more intriguing than the cryptids. For those that didn't know, a cryptid is a creature whose reported existence is unproven, such as Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. There are a ton of them, and we are going to talk about as many as we can in today's episode. Cryptids, it sounds like a bug. It actually sounds like a cockroach or a spider or something like that, but I didn't realize that there was like an overall name for like mysterious mythical creatures, basically.
Yeah, no, I think I fell under the umbrella of your introduction where you're like, hey, if you didn't know, because when we saw the email, by the way, shout out for this idea. And this idea comes to us from Robert. I want to please excuse Bowl.
You don't know which one's silent, the O or the E. Robert Bell or Robert Bull?
Robert B. How about that? I know you're listening, buddy. So thank you for the idea. Yeah, no, I was one of those guys. He was like, you guys should do cryptids. And I'm like, I don't know that many bugs. But then you guys explained it to me, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's a sick episode. Because there are so many pieces. First of all, just cryptids in general, super interesting to me. Like, I've always had a love for, like, all things spooky and paranormal. And, growing up watching the Sci-Fi Channel, there was no short of these types of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've captured the imagination of people around the world. It's this, I guess it must have something to do with the unknown, the great big, the great wild, out there, the unexplored regions of the world, that even though, the population of the earth has exploded and there are people, it feels like there are people everywhere over every inch of the world. There are still large portions of the ocean and the jungle and even the great, the great north, the great wide north of Canada or whatever, in the mountains of the United States and all around. It hasn't been explored. Yeah. So these things come out of myth and legend. And I'm not even really sure where some of these things originated, but some of them are kind of cool. Some of them I think are a little goofy. I feel like the more modern they are, the more recently they've been created, maybe the more people are trying to reach for something.
Which is weird. To me, I like that these are still going on because it literally just tells me that there are people out there that hate to be wrong and will literally die on the hill just to like prove these creatures' existence, to like make their high school bully eat their words. But no, there's some really cool, monsters. There's some really cool, just like ideas of creatures that are still out there. And the one thing that, comes to a surprise to me is that like the most unexplored region of the earth is our oceans. Another reason why I'm not a fan. But like you think there would be way more. Like obviously mermaids and mermen and like the kraken are considered like cryptids, but I'm surprised there isn't like way more of these like in the ocean. Like most of the ones we have on our list today are like mainly based off land. Yeah. But I also know you have one like that actually has a personal connection to you.
What? Wait, which one are you looking at? The Lake Elizabeth monster?
The Lake Elizabeth monster.
So funny. This one is probably the least, has about the least amount of evidence attached to it. Because all I have are stories from when I was a kid about the Lake Elizabeth monster. So I grew up in a place called Lake Elizabeth, California. It's up kind of in the high desert by Mojave and those kinds of places. And I just remember my dad telling me about the Lake Elizabeth monster. And it's basically just a pterodactyl. There's a pterodactyl around these hills, and it would fly around. And I don't even know how old the legend's supposed to be. Like if it's one of those kind of early 1900s kind of thing, because that area, if you look at it, it's pretty filled in at this point. There's people everywhere. There's living up in the hills, down near the lake, all around. It's right next to the 5 freeway or not too far away from it. So there's not a lot of wilderness left. If something was flying around, especially with today's technology, you'd think
you'd see
somebody would have seen it. But so all I can say is that if the Lake Elizabeth monster, which is basically supposed to be like a pterodactyl, flying pterodactyl from dinosaur times, if it ever did exist, we have long since killed it. And somebody has it up on its wall, up their wall someday.
Plus, what we know about like pterodactyls from like Jurassic Park is they're assholes.
Yeah,
and like
they come after you.
Yeah, they straight up come after you. And like Lake Elizabeth, when we, I remember you telling me this story when we went there for the Baton Death March.
Yeah, that's right. You've been there, yeah.
Yeah, and you were telling me about this. And, like, that place has a lot of wide open spaces.
Yeah.
Perfect spaces just to be absolutely picked up and brought to a nest of some random, Lake Elizabeth creature, pterodactyl thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that one's total BS, I think.
But I had to mention it because I didn't grow up in the Pacific Northwest where something like Bigfoot might exist or Scotland. Even though I did go to Loch Ness with the Loch Ness monster, but yeah, that's like my one. That's like my one personal experience with a cryptid, so to speak, which is not experience at all. It's just basically experience of telling the story of probably something that did never exist.
Yeah, let me fix my light really quick. It went out.
Oh no! Your light went out.
Oh no!
Oh no! Now I'm gonna have to be really interesting. Hey everybody, Cameron's a big dope. You can't even hear me right now. What an idiot. It's so hilarious that he can't hear me right now. I have no life. Most of my cryptid stories, folks, will actually be coming from episodes of the X-Files. So just FYI. Also, we're gonna be talking about the Meg, because I would like to believe that if a megalon did exist, a giant sea shark from deep in the ocean, that we would send Jason Statham to fight it, because that's really the only person that you can send. That's really a person for the job. That and bath salts.
I'm not going to have any lights on. How about that?
Hey, all right, cool, man. No, it's going to look great. You got a good light on your face, and you got that sweet Ranger flash behind
I think
you.
That's good enough for
that's
right now.
That's enough illumination for now.
Okay. Apologies.
Do you have a favorite cryptid that you grew up admiring or heard stories about?
Admiring. Yeah, damn, that Bigfoot. He's got some big feet.
That's the classic, man. That's the cryptid of all cryptids, man. That and the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. I don't really think I have a favorite. I think there's the ones that are the most known. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Bigfoot. Like, he is the pinnacle of cryptids.
Yep.
And then obviously being stationed in Washington State, where like I've come across some like Bigfoot believers.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you consider aliens cryptids?
I mean, it's kind of funny, because I think there's broad spectrum definition, which is like myths, urban myths and legends, which I think you could fit a lot of things under, even like crop circles, right? Crop circles, that's like urban legend stuff, urban myths.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to cryptids, I tend to want to think that they are earth-based monsters. You know what I mean? Even though I got one in here that it's not even it's not even, it's a humanoid thing. The Slender Man, we can talk about a little bit, but yeah, I feel like it's I think cryptid is legendary creature, rumored to exist, but there's not a lot of evidence for it actually existing, if any.
Sure.
Aliens obviously exist, so we couldn't put them under the cryptid.
Yeah, they're very real.
I mean, but hey, it's our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
What's your favorite cryptid?
I mean, honestly, like Bigfoot is he's the granddaddy of them all. Like he's the maybe the most well known, at least in the United States. I don't know if you guys are listening to this internationally. You let us know if you've ever heard of Bigfoot or if you have something maybe similar in your country, because they things like the Yeti. Right, he's from Asia, and there's got to be other incarnations of this. But Bigfoot, Pacific Northwest. I was stationed at Fort Lewis, as you were at a different time. But I like Bigfoot because I saw Harry and the Hendersons when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah, John Lithgow, dad, normal family, living in the Pacific Northwest, and they encounter Harry, who is a Sasquatch, and he's actually kind of a bumbling. He's like kind of a nice guy, and he's into have all sorts of goofy adventures.
Nobody just gave him a chance,
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's kind of after him because they want to hunt him down and shoot him. And so the Henderson family helps him out, and they release him back into the wild. Spoilers, folks. He goes back home, and then you see his whole family, the Sasquatch family. And I love John Lithgow. He's been part of my life.
Harry and the Hendersons is such a wholesome movie.
Yeah, and you got the monster truck Bigfoot, which I don't know what its track record is, or if any of you guys are interested in monster truck rallies, but I don't think it has the best record. But it's such an iconic truck, Bigfoot, the Bigfoot truck. That and I think Grim Reaper is the other one. But if you're into that kind of stuff, if
you like monster trucks, you know what the Bigfoot is.
Bigfoot, and there's such great evidence, of course, all of which has been completely discredited at this time. But there's the famous photo of he's walking sideways and he's swinging his arms. He kind of looks, and captures that perfect photo, which I'm sure is a fake,
because wasn't that photo pulled from video evidence as well?
What was it
I think so, but I think they pieced it together as a huge hoax. But it came from a video, and because I remember they used to have those crazy documentaries back in the day about finding Bigfoot kind of style things.
The missing link.
Yeah, the missing link. And I think they had that entire video, and you can see him kind of crossing that literal open area, and then he looks over, and that's where they snap the shot. But I'm pretty sure it's taken from a video, but they're this video's fake. It's a guy in a suit. It's all fake. Bigfoot's not real.
It's the Patterson Gimlin film from 1967, frame 352 of a female. 352. A female Bigfoot. You can tell by the classic pear shape and the bra straps.
The ginormous breasts on it.
But I feel like a lot of this stuff, it comes out of, Native American culture or indigenous culture from around the world. They have these legends, and then we just kind of pick them up, and then we run with them, and then of course we put them in comic books and on the sides of our monster trucks. I remember the Yeti. From the freaking what is it, the ride at
Disneyland?
Disneyland. Was it the Matterhorn?
The Matterhorn, yeah. Actually terrifying for children. I went on it recently, in the last year or something, and I was like, this is, for kids, this is scary.
Yeah, I was scared of it when I was a kid. I remember going on it once, and I was scared the entire time because I think it's, if you go on the ride now, it's digital video screens, but before it was a giant animatronic. I don't know if
it's still the animatronic.
Still the animatronic is there?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, they must have updated it, but...
it has these Yeti sounds where it's it's terrifying, dude. It's not chill.
Is that the one where somebody got decapitated? Didn't somebody die on a Disney ride recently, or was that the train, the Gold Digger, or the Gold Rush? The Gold Digger
train.
Ride, yeah.
And then it took all his money afterwards.
Middle-aged housewife Gold Digger. Gold Digger's
I'm not too sure.
But
but no, I'm definitely familiar with that ride. Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. But I think with cryptids, I definitely think, at least not like the Wendigo, for example, which is like,
Wendigo.
Native American, like spiritual creature.
Right.
But like, creatures that actually, like, for example, the Yeti, Bigfoot, the Lake Elizabeth monster that, they all come from like absolute, just like, you could see where it would be real. Cause like we have primates, like the dinosaurs walked the earth at one point.
Right.
And like we're still discovering creatures in like the ocean, for example, that we've never seen before. So I definitely think they existed at one point in time and were just logged. But obviously they're like back in the day, they weren't tracked, they weren't chipped, they weren't like basically their migration patterns, their way of life wasn't studied.
Yeah.
But they're just in the books. So people, there is no record of their extermination, but there's a record of their existence. So like people are still looking for the chance to spot these things when they've, to me, I think they've been long gone.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think if with a lot of this stuff, I'd like to believe that somewhere deep in the ocean or maybe in some unexplored region of something, the Amazon or whatever, there might still be like a dinosaur-like creature. But with the, with people spreading across the globe and animals naturally, I think most of them kind of stay away from people because they want to go to wherever their natural habitat is. I think we've cut that off slowly but surely by spreading out across the planet. And so I think, I tend to want to think if a lot of these things, whatever formation they were, they're just in myth and legend at this point, and then I think a lot of people, the whole Bigfoot thing, Wendigo, the Yeti, I since a lot of this stuff has origins in indigenous people's culture, they probably had like some spiritual significance or something, and then we popularized it and put it into pop culture, and now it's just kind of lost all meaning because a lot of those tribes aren't around anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a huge fan of like for example, in Latin America, like the chupacabra.
Yeah,
like
chupacabra.
The blood-sucking creature of the night. And like people literally have gotten so desperate of proving this thing's existence that they're like taking videos of hairless Mexican dogs, and they're like, "There it is."
There was a hairless bear. Yeah, it was a hairless bear.
Was it a bear?
It was a hairless bear.
I know they did one video of like this Mexican hairless dog, and it's just like walking down the street like dogs do, and people are like, "That's a chupacabra," because I mean they're ugly. They're super ugly.
Yeah.
But no, I do like the chupacabra just because, growing up, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I just watched Sci-Fi Channel all the time. And they used to have this movie that actually involved some military in it. And like it's called Chupacabra Dark Seas. Have you ever seen this?
No, I've never heard of this.
Oh, it's terrible. But side note, for some reason, John Rhys Davies, like the guy that plays Gimli, and like, who plays some of the, craziest roles of all time. Like he played Gimli in Lord of the Rings. Obviously he's Indiana Jones's father. For some reason, I always think he's Sean Connery. Like, tell me they're not the same person.
They're not the same person. I don't think that
I always
would
get
ever
so
make
confused
that,
with those two.
I
used to think Sean Connery was Gimli, and then I'm like, wait, John Rhys Davies. Oh, what? But if you look at his IMDb, he like lived for these Sci-Fi Channel monster movies.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
there's so many.
He's been in a lot. He's one of those actors like Ron Perlman where you'll see him in a big budget movie. Like Ron Perlman he'll do Hellboy or what have you. And then during that year, he'll do like 7 other films where, a lot of times with these low budget film, they'll pay $1 million to a big budget actress and so they can put him in the movie, and he'll work for maybe a couple days or even a week and they'll shoot him out. They'll just shoot all his stuff. And so he's gone. He collects his paycheck, and then they get the notoriety of having a big time actor in his movie. And then I feel like Jonathan Rhys Davies or John Rhys Davies and then Ron Perlman, these guys, they're just working actors. They just want to keep working. And they're not huge. They're not trying to like mold their branding or careers like The Rock or Tom Cruise to where they only can be in these big budget movies, because it would eliminate a lot of opportunities for them to work. And so, and also, as they get older too, maybe the opportunities come less and less. But yeah, John Reed's right. This movie does not look. You've seen this movie? This movie does not look very high.
Well, the thing is, with your point where they like just do these short cameos, that's not the case with John Rhys Davies.
Oh, really?
he will play primary roles. Like in that movie, he is in the entire movie.
Wow.
And then he also did this movie about a saber-toothed tiger that never went extinct. That is like the same caliber of like B-class monster movie. And he's in the entire movie. He like plays the protagonist.
Wow.
I just don't like, he'll go from Indiana Jones and like, you know, he probably will be like, I'll do one big movie and then I'll do whatever I want afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because obviously Indiana Jones probably paid him a lot of money. Like Lord of the Rings. Actually, I don't know much about Lord of the Rings because I just found out that Orlando Bloom got paid like $150,000 for all 3 movies.
Oh, yeah. That was when he was still kind of up and coming.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't know if, you know, JRD, for giving him acronyms now. He, I don't know if he got paid more than that. But yeah, no, Chupacabra Dark Seas is terrible movie. They get lost at sea and like they're transporting a chupacabra like on the boat and like something happens where it gets out and like I think like Navy SEALs come and try to kill it, but the chupacabra just like, and John Rhys Davies plays like the captain of the boat. And yeah, I mean the chupacabra obviously looks like crap. It's like the worst prosthetics ever.
Yeah,
and it just kills everybody. But that's what I remember growing up and watching.
Man, good for you. I've seen some stinkers in my time. A lot of the monsters in this list actually were explored in shows like Supernatural. But first, I grew up watching the X-Files. I feel like a lot of these are explored in the X-Files, like the Loch Ness Monster. Well, Loch Ness Monster, not so much the Loch Ness Monster, but Champ. Or Lake Champlain, the Lake Champlain monster, who's it's basically just another version of a, you know, plesiosaur or whatever. Yeah, Loch Ness monster, only in America. But season 3, episode 22, Quagmire. There are people getting killed in this lake area, and Mulder and Scully go to investigate. And they go through all the events as the bodies pile up. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And Mulder's obviously the believer, and Scully's the skeptic. And at the end, it turns out to be like a giant alligator that had just escaped from somewhere else. But as they leave the lake and they turn their backs and they drive away, you see the Lake Champlain monster swimming in like crest. And of course. Yeah. And I went to Loch Ness. I took a trip to Scotland back in 2016.
Back in the day, huh?
Yeah.
That was for like a wedding. Weren't you there for a wedding or something?
Yeah, I was there for my brother's wedding. Super cool. Scotland's beautiful, man. I would definitely... Yeah. I'm kind of a check the block guy when it comes to traveling. I'll go to a place and be like, I don't need to go there anymore. I went there. I would definitely go back to Scotland again. It's just, especially the further up you get into the Highlands, like the northwestern part of the country, super cool. And yeah, I went to Loch Ness and they have a really cool, they got a museum there with a couple castles you can walk around. And, you know, I remember that I took some extra time out of my day, a couple hours just to sit there, just kind of look around. Just make sure that if it was gonna crest, I was gonna catch it.
Right now.
Yeah, it's gonna crest. It's gonna, out of all the times that it could crest, of course, it would do it when the American shows up.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
New on CuriosityStream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
But alas, it did not. You know, X-Files. What a great show. We should do an X-Files. Actually, I don't know if we could do an X-Files episode sometime. You didn't really ever watch that show, did you?
No, not really.
Nah.
But I can always watch the show.
You can. You are really good. You're a lot better at keeping up on shows than I am. I seem to have no time, but The other one, I'm just going to put this out there because it's one of my other favorite episodes, but it's season 4, episode 15. They had like 10 seasons of that show, man. Can you believe that?
Jeez.
Yeah. I think they tried to get some new people in there towards the end because it had been Mulder and Scully. Maybe the actors wanted to go off and do other things. They'd been with the show for so long. They tried to get new agents to come in and kind of replace them. I think one of them was Robert Patrick, and there was another lady. She's been in, she was on House on Haunted Hill. She was one of the caretakers. She was the caretaker's wife. But she was there. They were going to be the agents, and it just did not work out. I don't think it worked out at all. So.
Didn't work.
But there was
failed.
There was another episode called Kaddish. It was about a Jewish golem. And I
was about to ask you about that. That's the first time I've heard about the Jewish golem, and I myself am a Jew.
Yeah.
Not by religion, by birth. So I'm like, this is an interesting one.
And apparently, yeah.
Yeah, because a golem is a creature formed out of a lifeless substance such as a dust or earth that is brought to life by ritual incantations and sequences of Hebrew letters. The golem, brought into being by a human creator, becomes a helper, a companion, or a rescuer of an imperiled Jewish community. In many golem stories, the creature runs amok, and then the golem itself becomes a threat to its creator. That's cool. That sounds like magic and fantasy at its like all-time high. Because in the Warcraft movie, they have a golem in there too.
Golems. Yeah, I think in wider D&D type Warcraft lore, it's an elemental spirit, so it's like a rock monster or a mud monster or something like that. So it's a bit of the same kind of vein or whatever. But in that episode, it turns out that there's a Jewish guy that had been killed in this community by 3 stereotypical white supremacists, and then he seems to come back. Like they capture him on film, and it looks like him, but he's kind of like dirty looking. It turns out his betrothed, his bride-to-be, out of a spirit of vengeance and love for him, crafted a golem and did the incantation on him, and it came back as a vengeful spirit, and it came out and killed those evil white supremacists.
Killed those whiteys. Yeah. But I mean, that's like a fantasy silly one. Same thing with this one, the Mongolian death worm.
I never even heard of this before.
I never heard of this one too until I saw it on the list, and I actually took a good chunk of time looking into this because it is super ridiculous, and there's no way that if this thing does exist that it has not been spotted before.
Yeah.
Because it's apparently it exists in the Gobi Desert, and there's a lot of pop culture revolved around it, but definitely it could be the inspiration for the giant worms in Dune.
Yes.
And those are giant worms in Dune. So if this thing is based off that, how the hell do you not see this, entire Earth moving from especially with all the tech, like you said in the beginning, the technology we have for the Lake Elizabeth monster, how would you not be able to see this? Especially something moving underneath the surface that's moving Earth would, to me, emit some type of seismic signature. Yeah. So there would be some sort of really low grade earthquake happening at all times, and I'm if that hasn't been caught, no, there's no way that's real.
And do you know how when it comes to the desert, I just thought of this. How deep does the sand portion of the desert go? Is it hundreds of feet? Is just sand on sand on sand, or would there be an eventual point where it hits the kind of a bedrock type hard packed clay or granite? I just don't know much about geology to know, if something that big could actually kind of move around under the surface without being detected, or if it's you dig a little bit and it's just bedrock, 10 feet down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to navigate if you're a creature, because I'm assuming worms in general don't have eyes. And if you dig in the desert, sometimes you find rock, sometimes you find water. And even when you find water, water packed on top of itself is heavy. So it's going to wet that earth. And then if, once the water goes away, it hardens and it becomes, impossible to work through. It becomes that clay material. Yeah. So I'm assuming they can't just are moving freely underneath the surface. There's no way.
Well, I mean, that would be a Tremors type thing, right? You ever see Tremors? They got the graboids that they detect people by the vibrations that they make when they walk across the ground. That's how they attack.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Tremors could have been based off the Mongolian death worm.
Yeah. I mean, they actually had a Mongolian death worm movie. Unfortunately, it was made by the Sci-Fi Channel. And so it sucks. I think it had one of the dudes from the less successful actor from All Saints Day, Boondock Saints, in it. So it's not going to be very good. And the CGI, I watched a couple clips for the show, and CGI it's bad. It's like really bad.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's almost like they didn't
movie.
even try. Yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of their budget's probably hiring dudes like, John Rhys Davies, and then the rest of the CGI budget just goes down the hole.
Yep. They just want to get that big name actor. This next one, even though it does not exist on the scale that we would like to, or at least we don't know, but the Kraken. Like giant squids, man. Giant squids do exist, and
they do exist.
We have documented.
They're huge.
Yeah, they're documented from the ancient times. But then we also have. I looked it up, and there's actually some footage of a giant squid. It's like it's like 20 feet long, and it actually came up to the surface. It got these Japanese divers got some footage of it. It looks so crazy. It's scary to look at.
Yeah. No, squids are scary in general. Dude.
Yeah,
but,
man.
Could you imagine one that can take down an entire boat?
Dude, that's crazy. And who knows? This one probably came up to die. I don't know why it would try to surface, but yeah, man, coming up to coming up from the surface and taking down giant ships and stuff. Well, they're probably they've also had documents that they see sperm whales that have scarring on them that is consistent with them getting into fights with giant squids. Yeah. So they've washed up on shores, and I think that's super cool, super scary, which is one of the reasons that you and I are in agreement that I'm not a big fan of the ocean.
Yeah, no, because I don't like the ocean. Because
I just don't like the fact that I can't see the bottom. Okay, and then knowing that there are giant squids there. Not that they were going to come after me, all right? They're not coordinating their attack to go after Israel, right? But just in case they are, I'm going to move to the desert.
Yeah, no, far away from the ocean, because the ocean also has obviously there have been a lot of movies lately that talk about the megalodon shark.
Yeah,
which is a terrifying thought to think that these things actually existed at one point in time. I mean, I don't like sharks already, and Jaws screwed me up as a child, and totally I blame that movie for my fear of the ocean. But to think that one of these sharks is literally 10 times bigger than the biggest recorded, great white we've ever found.
Yeah.
Is absolutely terrifying. And I was on Instagram the other day, and there was this, it's probably fake, but still thinking in perspective just how big these things are. There was some satellite, Google Earth footage or satellite footage of from the ocean, and you could just see this ginormous shadow underneath the surface. And it looked like an animal, could be a school of fish or anything. But when you compare it to, this, they also took pictures of those giant school yellow buses. Mm-hmm. And it was about the size of two of them, width, and two of them freaking, stacked on top of each other. Yeah. And to think that was out there at some point, and who knows, since we don't explore the ocean or can't with the technology we have. Otherwise, you end up going to see the Titanic and just dying. That's terrifying to me. I don't like that one bit.
No way, man. What's cool is that you get reports from, if you look at old ship's logs from early explorers, they talk about sea monsters, but a lot of this stuff, a lot of stuff, I'm sure it's whales or different things like that. But sometimes the description, guys, seems like an old dinosaur or something like that, or I don't know. I don't know if it was a giant squid or not, but it's cool. It's cool to think that maybe that's, like I said before, maybe that's part of our need to believe that there's something out there in the unexplored regions of the world that we can still discover. And I think that we're not when it comes to cryptids, but we discover new species of different things, whether it's bacteria or certain animal variations and stuff. But I was looking at some of the giant squid footage. These dudes were in a submarine, and there was one kind of off in the distance, and definitely do not want to go into the ocean in a little tin can.
Yeah,
to go look at giant things that
Yeah, because things, we don't know how long things live. Like, the whole argument earlier was like, yeah, these could have been real, but then died off. But, like, for example, like, you ever heard of the Greenland shark?
The Greenland shark? No.
Yeah, so the Greenland shark is, like, one of the oldest living sharks that, like, they've found in the ocean. And, like, it could, they estimate that the shark can live at least 250 years and that they might live over 500 years. Wow. So, like, even, thinking about a shark that was born 250 years ago was in the 1800s. So when like a lot of this, these ship logs and details came out. So who knows, like these animals could have passed on, but during that time of like quote unquote sea monsters, like there could absolutely be these creatures that have just like been super, mature, but have ultimately died in that era or were, it's things I don't like to think about when I'm, planning a beach day. Right.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have a hard enough time with the sharks that we do know about, which actually, I don't want to propagate any rumors or anything. Typically, the more you get to know about sharks, they're typically not aggressive, and when they are, it's usually because they've mistaken a person for a seal. Like we have the wetsuits, we're on the surface, we're flapping around, and it is unfortunate, but typically sharks are not aggressive. I think they kind of get a bad rap from pop culture and Discovery Channel Shark Week every year. It's basically just been like, oh, now it's just a horror
just like,
reel.
oh, okay, now I feel good. After watching a shark movie, I never want to go in the water, and then I'll watch Shark Week, and I'm like, okay, I can go in the water, but I'm still paranoid.
Yeah, and obviously they're an important part of the ecosystem. So don't go hunting down sharks. Okay, don't let some big tech billionaire fund an operation to go and search for the Meg in the bottom of the ocean. Just leave it alone. And if you can't leave it alone, at least take Jason Statham with you.
Yeah, for real. There you go. Facts. That's some facts.
But last thing I want to talk about, it's not a cryptid, but it's more of something that has actually happened that I just wish would happen to me, and that it's dolphins saving humans.
What?
Yeah, there's been a couple instances, and it's even been recorded like way back when, of dolphins saving people. Which I think is just like the coolest
thing. Sea turtles, dude. Yeah, tied a bunch of sea turtles together.
Oh, wait, what?
That's from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean. No, man, it's just dolphins we know from what we've studied are super smart. And what is it, Douglas Adams, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. The what is it, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, apparently, right before the Earth is destroyed to make room for an intergalactic highway, all the dolphins leave, and they say, so long, thanks for all the fish. And we realize that they were these super intelligent beings that have spaceships and all that kind of But there are many instances, and I think some more recently, of people being in trouble. I think one guy there were sharks in the area, and a bunch of dolphins came around and kept the sharks away from the humans for a time. It's just kind of interesting that they would do that. I read an article that it offered some possibilities as to why, like maybe they're just social creatures and they have this kind of, they have the kind of a social aspect to them. And so it turns into some sort of protective kind of thing, or maybe they're playing and they don't realize that they're helping humans out, or I don't know, man.
Whatever they're doing something right, except for the gang rape. Yeah. Dolphins are notorious for gang raping.
Notorious gang rappers, yeah. That's not the good thing. Listen, no species is perfect, man. Okay, we got our problems. The dolphins got their problems.
Yeah, but we come together with our problems. Our problems make us one.
That's right. United with the dolphins.
Yeah. But cool, man. I think, we talked about a lot of popular ones. I think we dove into some not so popular ones like the lizard people. So if you didn't know about them, I'm sorry you do now. But dude, we have this fan question that also comes to us from Robert, who, shout out, gave us the idea for this episode. And Robert, along with the idea, wants to know, if you ever had to fight a cryptid, what would it be and how would you prep for it? Ooh, great question.
I love it when, I don't know if you've seen any of the pop culture stuff associated with it, any of these guys, apart from, I guess we got the X-Files stuff, and then you saw a couple of the movies, didn't you? But whenever they bring to bear a military unit, it's kind of nice to think like, well, how would we go after one of these things? I guess it depends on what the cryptid is. I feel like maybe just because I don't like the
think
ocean.
You have the benefit of picking your fight here.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I think Bigfoot would probably be maybe the best one, unless it's a situation where we know that the cryptid itself, its habitat, it knows its own habitat or its area, and it's good. It has good senses, and so it's going to run off. If there's like a big element that's after it, because I would want to have a lot of guys, a lot of satellite technology, a lot of surveillance technology, and stuff like that. A lot of vehicles to go after it. But if we could only have a small element, I guess that would be some sacrifice to be. I'd want to. I'm just guessing some tech billionaire is funding this whole operation.
Well, it's your world. It is your world. For me, I think I'm just going to pick the chupacabra, just because from what I know about it, it's bloodsucker. It goes primarily after goats, so I don't think it's super big.
Yep.
And for me, prep, I just need a small team with night vision assets and some good quality firearms, because just because they're cryptids doesn't make them bulletproof.
Yeah. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
We can kill it. Yeah, exactly. And I think the chupacabra definitely bleeds. So, and plus, if people are mistaking it for a tiny little dog, I'm going to put that thing on my shelf.
Yeah. Yep.
Easy pick for me. But Bigfoot would be good too, because he's not bulletproof at all.
Yeah.
But he is scary.
Yeah. We'd have to really be off our game that day to be taken out by by Bigfoot.
Big tooth.
Unless there's like
that's
a whole family of big feet. But even so, man, a couple shots in the right area.
Yeah,
like
people hunt primates. They, the silverback gorilla is endangered, and poachers go after those with no issues. So why can't I just poach a bunch of Bigfoot, huh?
Yeah, it's like the American version of Harambe.
Yeah, literally. So I hope that answers your question there, Robert. Yeah, I'm going after the chupacabra, and I'm going to stuff it and put it on my mantle.
Because that's par for the course for humanity. All right, folks, that's it for the main body, folks. We got a game to play, and I have the game.
Always.
Cameron.
You got the game. I'm playing.
That's right. I'm the game master. You are the gamer. And this game is called Name That Cryptid. I'm going to describe one of these beasts. You give you multiple choice answers. All right. And this time, Chris has actually included the answers in the game this time. So,
oh, nice, Chris. Good move there.
These are ones that we have not spoken of in the episode. So you really got to put your thinking cap on for this.
There are so many cryptids out there, man. Oh man.
Yeah. All right, let's do the first one. There's just 5 of them, so it should go pretty quick. This first one is an extra-large, otter-like carnivorous aquatic mammal that lives in Ireland. Is it A, the garoon, B, the dobar chew, or C, the fully craw?
Wow. I mean, if those names didn't give you hints, I don't know what else did. A carnivorous otter. Interesting.
Otter-like.
I'm glad it's multiple choice, because if it wasn't, I would have a 0% chance. But now I have like a 33.3333 repeated chance.
That's right. So
I'm going to go ahead
you got it?
and just guess the garoon.
The garoon, eh?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. You are an uncultured swine. It's the dobar chew.
The dobar chew. Oh, man.
Camel. It looks like a monstrous otter. That's really kind of, if you look at pictures, it just looks like a monster otter. But it's one of the cryptids. You go out and do your research of the cryptid list. It's on
look
there.
At this thing.
I like how it seems like almost every area of the world has their own legendary animals or legendary monsters, which is kind of cool. It just shows you it's something universal across cultures. But all right, Cameron, we got the next one, if you're ready for it.
I am ready.
This one is an aquatic humanoid whale-like creature supposedly inhabiting subantarctic oceans. Is it the A, the ningen, or the ningen? Is it B, the noongoon? Or is it C, the nilbog? Aquatic humanoid whale-like creature.
I'm just going to go with my first instinct and say it's the ningen, just because that one stood out to me the most.
Kind of sounds like ninjutsu.
Yeah, ninja.
You are correct. It is the ningen.
Nice.
Hey, good for you, man.
All right. Oh, yeah. Look at pictures of this thing. It looks totally Antarctic.
It just looks like a whale to me. Like they saw something that they didn't understand and they described it, and it's like, oh, that's just a whale.
Yeah, there's literally a picture here of like this ice cap with like these white legs and just like the front of a narwhal on it.
Oh, I've seen that picture.
Honestly, this creature does not look terrifying at all.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different one. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, it's got two little man legs.
It looks like a sperm. It literally looks like a sperm.
Well, good thing you can definitely go to the sub-Antarctic. I can't say that. And you don't have to worry about running into this thing.
I won't worry about that little guy. That little guy, don't worry about that little guy.
He's just a little guy. All right,
just a little guy.
Next one, a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed bipedal canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. Is it A, the Illinois Dogman? Is it B, the Texas Dogman? Or is it C, the Michigan Dogman?
Ooh, so I just have to... It's a Dogman.
It's a Dogman.
So I just have to pick the state
That's right.
I think it is.
Illinois, Texas, or Michigan?
For some reason, I want to say Illinois, but then again, there's part of me that's like, oh, Texas. Texas has everything, you know. I'll go with Texas. The Texas Dogman?
Oh, unfortunately, it is not the Texas Dogman. It's the Michigan Dogman.
The Michigan, not even one of my considerations.
Michigan was feeling a little left out, so they had to create an urban legend for themselves, a cryptid. So, all right.
Oh, man.
Next one, you got two more. A legendary creature in particular North American indigenous peoples' history and culture. It is considered a supernatural being of power and strength. It is said to create thunder by flapping its wings and lightning by flashing its eyes. Is it A, the lightning bird? Is it B, the thunderbird? Or is it C, the sunbird?
Is it Zapdos, the Pokemon? Zapdos.
That would be in Japan.
Okay. What were the questions or the answers again?
Is it A, lightning bird, B, thunderbird, or C, sunbird? Which kind of bird is it?
I mean, Thunderbird is a type of car, so I feel like that's named after something. So I'm gonna go with Thunderbird.
That is correct. It's an amazing car,
nice.
And then also an amazing North American indigenous people's history and culture phenomenon or creature. So yes, you got that one right. That's the Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird, also known as Zapdos.
Is that what that is? Oh no, it's
it's one of the legendary bird Pokemon.
Oh,
Zapdos.
I know what you're talking
Zapdos.
about.
It's not Zapdos. Zapdos.
Zapdos. Okay, good. Yeah, get it right, Cameron.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, last one, man. A legendary humanoid frog described as standing only 4 feet tall. First seen in Ohio.
Ohio.
So is it the Homestead frog, the Loveland frog, or the Mississippi frog?
Is it the Loveland frog? Isn't Loveland a city in Ohio?
That is correct. It is the Loveland frog,
nice.
Cameron. Good job, man. You got about half and half.
Nice.
So you're up on
half and half. I'll take it. Especially
lore.
with those tribal names. It's like, how the hell?
Actually, no, you got most of them right, actually. You only got 2 wrong, so good for you, man.
Oh, nice. I'll take it, man.
Well, good job, man. I hope you all at home did just as well as Cameron did, if not better. If so, then good job on keeping up on your cryptid lore.
Job on your cryptid lore, folks.
Cryptid lore.
Cryptic knowledge, cryptid knowledge.
Encrypted
your
knowledge.
Crypt knowledge, your knowledge of crypts.
Yeah. Or your crump knowledge, your knowledge of crumping.
That's solid. That's solid, man. Well, folks, if we missed any cryptids on this list, this is such a topic of interest for myself, and I'm sure Izzy as well. So if there are any of these mysterious mythical creatures that we failed to acknowledge, or, just maybe you come from a small town, maybe you come from international cities where you guys have their own, please feel free to shoot us a message on our Instagram or on the Patreon. Yeah, I'm very interested in this, so I'd love to see what's out there, see what myths people are coming up with to prove their high school bullies wrong.
Yeah, folks. Yeah, you want to get in speaking of Patreon, you want to get in on the Patreon, folks. We have full episodes for our tier 1 subscribers, extra episodes for our mid-tier subscribers, and then we do a live stream once a month where me and Cameron get together, watch a movie with our top tier subscribers. So if you want more of this great content, got to show up to the Patreon, folks. We also got merch that you can check out. Click on the link in our bio for Instagram and to go check out some of that cool merch. And yeah, folks, hope you stay safe out there in the great big world full of mythical monsters.
Yep. And with that, cue music.
What's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much, much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.